It was almost as if I wanted other people to do things for me. I had to take my power back and do it myself. I wasn't waiting for people to give me things, help me to do things. I know I have to do it myself.
Hello and welcome back to Becoming the Influential Me. I'm Michelle Chikanda and I'm thrilled to be here today. Today I am continuing the three-part series on the choosing to challenge theme. And I'm interviewing one of my clients, somebody that I have a lot of respect for. This lady is the ultimate rebounder. You know, every once in a while I experience people who feel like there's nothing left and who feel like, they should just give up because everything has gone wrong. What the person I am interviewing today, Bunmi, will share with you how she went from being that person to actually being somebody who said, you know what, I've still got so much more ahead of me. And this can be you too. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where you think, how on earth am I ever going to recover and get back on track? If you are, that person, you're thinking how you're going to get on track. First of all, watch this interview because Bunmi is amazing and she's a ball of energy. And second of all, make sure you sign up for my training, which you can find at www.theinfluentialme.com. So if you haven't done that already, please make sure you sign up. It's great. Okay, so here's Bunmis Story, and I will see you on the other side of this interview. So thank you for joining me today, Bunmi. I'm so pleased.
Thank you for asking me. I'm honoured.
No, it's the pleasure's all mine. So just to let other people that are listening in know, Bunmi is somebody that I worked with. We started working together. When did you join the program? It was the summer of last year, no?
Last year, most probably August, August last year.
Yeah, so August of last year. And I remember exactly how we, quote unquote, met. I received a call from you and you said, I can't find anywhere online to sign up. I'm trying desperately to sign up and there's nowhere to sign up. Please tell me it's still open because I just need to do something. And I remember it like it was yesterday because you said, Michelle, I could go out and buy a new pair of trainers. I could go out and buy a new handbag, but that isn't going to change my life. I need to start doing things that are going to develop me as a person. I'm ready. And I remember I was in my kitchen when I picked up the phone. I was in the kitchen making lunch and I was like, whoa. And then I just said, I sent you the link, and for sure within a few minutes you text me saying, yes, I'm in, I can't wait to start. And then then that's how it all began. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is challenge. Challenge is something that we're going to have to do more and more of as the world changes, as jobs and the corporate environment moves forward. Challenge is a trait that we're all going to have more of. So I guess my very first question to you, Bunmi, is what was that first challenge? Because you said, okay, I'm sitting here, it's the pandemic, it's 2020, everything is going wrong. What made you just think, you know what, I've got to change something. I've got to challenge how I'm thinking about something. What happened? Talk us through, that very first moment, if you like.
The world was in a bit of a difficult place, and I definitely was. And I knew unless I did something different, things were going to continue. And I was listening to motivational speakers, and I thought to myself, it's all well and good because I like listening to motivational speakers when I'm online, but I needed to do something for myself. I needed to change. And people talk about investing in themselves. Athletes go for runs, they improve their nutrition, they do things that are good for them. And I know I have to do all those things. I'm forever trying to lose weight, be healthier, but I thought I've got to do something with my mind. With my mind, something to get me to the next step. And I've got to do one thing. And you just popped up online. I watched your webinar. I don't know how it came on, and I thought, this is it. I've got to go for it. And because we had been working from home for a long time, I was feeling a little bit lethargic. And I didn't know what that next step was. And I thought to myself, like I said, the trainers and everything, I don't have a problem going out and buying something for myself to put on, a new handbag. I thought, for me, you've got to invest in yourself. And that's why I made that call. I felt a little bit embarrassed after I was posting. why on earth is she calling me? But for some reason, I just could not log on. And I thought, I'm not going to let this go. And that was my eureka moment. And, I've been watching your webinars, and I just like the way you deliver things. You have a lot of energy. And as I said, I was feeling a little bit lethargic, which actually came across when we had our one-to-one session. And I'm so happy I made that change, because my boss actually said to me, I've seen a difference. And I thought, in what way? She said, is it a new van? Is it a new car? And I just had to smile. I was so happy that she saw the difference. My sons saw the difference. People close to me, although we weren't around a lot of people because we were in a bit of a lockdown, we had our bubbles. But my good friend, my confidant, said, this has been, and that was after the first session. She goes, you're really enjoying this. I said, I am. And it led me to take steps in my personal life that I wouldn't have normally taken. I wasn't in two minds about anything. I was focus driven, if that makes sense. I had a focus.
And what did you have to challenge? So you said you were feeling a little bit lethargic. Tell us a little bit about how you had to, what did you have to challenge in terms of how you were thinking about the world in order for you to get there? What was the block that you had to jump over?
I had to overcome. I felt invisible. It was almost as if I wanted other people to do things for me. But then I had to realize I had to take that power back. I was giving away my power. I had to take my power back and do it myself. I wasn't waiting for people to give me things, help me to do things. I know I have to do it myself. At least take the first steps. And people might meet me halfway, they might meet me a quarter of the way, but if not, I'm just going to keep going and knocking on that door, opening that door myself. So
just to rewind a little bit, tell us what was happening like before you made that call, before you had that eureka moment. How were you feeling?
I was really stuck in my career. And I was stuck in my career. I was stuck in my personal life, more my career, because I just wanted to move to the next level, and I think there was a level of frustration. In fact, there was a lot of frustration. Some days I'd get out of bed thinking, what is all this for? I didn't really have that buzz. And I'm usually a very positive person, but I just knew things were getting me down, and I couldn't really pinpoint one thing, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And I had to change my mindset, but I also had to do something. And the course was it for me, spending the money, investing in myself, loving myself more, valuing myself. So that was it for me. And I met wonderful people on the course, yourself. Everybody was just, I think a lot of us were in the same position. So we kind of all motivated each other. But I really, really enjoyed doing the workshop. I enjoyed doing the work. And understanding different personalities. That was something I had never understood before.
Yeah, I mean, what that essentially is it gives us a greater level of empathy. I think sometimes we just think the whole world is just like us. People often say phrases like, it doesn't make sense. Sense to who? And we never stop to question some of these cliche, things that we say. They don't understand. Why should they?
Yeah.
And things that we take for granted. Okay, so tell us a little bit about where you are now. What happened since you did the program, you met me, you met all these incredible ladies. What happened after that? After you went through the
I set up 3 goals for myself. I'm not going to go into each of the goals, but I actually got my permanent role slightly a little bit later than I had anticipated, but that was not due to me. That was due to the dynamics of the office and the role that I went for. Mm-hmm. I went for a role that I wouldn't normally go for. And
stop for a moment. Yeah. That's a really important point. Why would you not normally go for that role? Now, the reason I'm asking is because I read a study before that said, or somebody told me about a study that basically said men and women were asked to sit a maths test, right? And that they did the testing, they did the marks, and they found that men did better than women. And then they analyzed the test papers, and then they realized that
women scored less because they didn't answer all the questions. So they made them do the test again and said, this time, even if you don't know, you must answer the question. And guess what happened with the results? They were the same or higher than men. So women, sometimes we don't show up, and then because we don't show up, we don't get what we want, and then we complain about not getting what we want. But it's because sometimes we're not showing up. So tell me about this moment where you said, I wouldn't have normally gone for it. Why wouldn't you have normally gone for it?
Because I felt I wasn't qualified to do the role.
Interesting. So what suddenly made you qualified? What did you have to challenge to go from being unqualified to being qualified in your mind?
I knew there could only be two outcomes. Yes, you've got the job. No, you haven't got the job. But I was able to use my transferable skills. I was able to demonstrate, that I was able to do it. And the manager actually said to me, you scored higher than people that have been doing this job for a long time. It was just the confidence. And even though it was an online, because we were in lockdown, and I've never met any of these people. It's one of those weird things. I haven't met anybody in my team. The lady said you were oozing confidence, that they could almost feel my confidence. And I felt I could do it, and I do it. So I'm happy I took that step. I didn't let my fears hold me back.
Ooh, that's a big word, a juicy word that I love. Let's talk about this relationship with fear. I remember, Bunmi, when we first had our conversation, without going into too much detail, you were clinging on to a lot of failures from your past. You were saying,
absolutely,
I've done this in the past and it didn't work, and then this happened, and then basically my life is over because I haven't been able to do certain things, and I keep going back to that colossal failure, keep going back. And I remember we had a conversation where it was like, okay, let's make peace with it. Let's bury it. Let's have a ceremony.
And we did. We did.
Let's have a ceremony. Let's cry. Let's wear black, and then let's keep it moving.
I think that was the turning point for me, because you have never met me, but within a few minutes of us actually having our one-to-one, you were able to identify those obstacles. And I thought to myself, if you haven't met me and within a short space of time, you're able to pick out what are stumbling blocks, I wonder how I'm coming across in my professional life. That in itself is what's the word? It's a no-no. I manage staff, and if I see staff coming up, they can actually drag the team down without even realizing it. And I thought that is not a good place to be professionally, and it's not a good place for me to be personally. So I had to turn things around, because you were able to tell me in a diplomatic way. Other people most probably would just step back, and I would be invisible, and I wouldn't get any further, and that would cause either further frustration for me.
Yeah, I mean, I really had to challenge you on that, because basically we were talking about, on the professional side, we were talking about you harboring these fears in your job, where you were saying, this job is not who I am. I'm not really interested. I'm better than this. I can do so much more than this. And I remember I challenged you. I said, if you're feeling this, do you not think the people around you know? And if I can get on a Zoom call and figure this out within 10 minutes, how much more the people that work with you on a daily basis? And then suddenly you were like, oh my gosh, everybody can see. I can't be exposed like this. I need to change. And that's what we did. We managed to challenge you into realizing you are not as conspicuous, if you like, as you think you are. Sometimes we think, today I'm low energy, really care, but nobody notices because I just submit everything I'm supposed to submit. But sometimes what we fail to understand is, gaining visibility is sometimes just about, the energy, the mindset that you bring into your work. Bringing a pen to a meeting. It's the smallest thing, but it's challenging the status quo and challenging what we do all the time, so that in order for us to move on. So tell us a little bit more about, so now, you went for this job and you said there's two answers. It's either going to be a yes or it's going to be a no. And what would have happened if it was a no? Which happens?
If it was a no, I would have learned, I would have got feedback and polished up my skills. and, you know, applied for something similar, but I would have gone for it. I was determined that I was not going to let a response that was not mine affect me, because I had been carrying so much baggage that had been affecting me for a long time. I now needed to shake that baggage off and not be fearful. That I knew, you know, the no would, it might even help me. There's something better for me in the future.
Bunmi, I'm so proud. Like, just hearing you say this, like, just, and knowing where you were at the time, where you were just like, Michelle, but I failed here. Michelle, I failed there. Michelle, I failed here. And now you're just like, so what? If they say no, they say no.
That's it. Yeah.
If they say no. And one of the things we talked about in the course was, you know, their no is not your no. And I love that you said that. You said, yeah, they said no. That response was, you know, no, and it could actually help me. It's about you having the mindset. So you really had to challenge your mindset and start being somebody who sees a no as a, okay, that's great, because I'm going to get feedback from that. And with that feedback, I'm only going to be better. Right. And I'm so proud to hear you say that, because it's a marked difference. It's a marked difference. And I think you should be so proud about how you've sort of overcome that big hurdle where it was before, oh, if I failed, oh, I was expecting that. Now onto more bad news, but you've managed to change that. But they didn't say no, did they? For me,
no, it was a yes.
It was it a big yes or a little yes?
It was a big yes.
So tell us about the new role. Tell us what your manager said, you know, when you applied for the role, and how you feel now, having learned everything that you've learned, having made the investment in yourself, both, you know, it's not just money, because it's not just buying a course, but actually investing time in doing it, you know, and investing time in, you know, nurturing the relationships that are necessary. So both time, money, and headspace. Tell us what's happening for you now.
It's realizing that I do have to give myself time to improve myself, read books. I mean, they don't have to be physical books, they could be books online, but try and learn something new. Like when people say I took this up, and I'm thinking in my mind before I'd say why, but just learning something new can actually take you to the next level, because in a way that's another challenge. And you know, I'm not hoping to be in this position for very long. I'm giving myself a year, then I want to move up.
Love it.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know, sky is the limit.
Absolutely. And so tell us about this. So this new role that you went for, you got it, and what was the feedback from the hiring manager?
What is my current manager, very positive, and another manager that came in just said, I actually thought you had been doing the position before. And I said, no. I said, but it's something I can do. I'm willing to learn. I've done X, Y, Z. And he goes, oh, really? And I said, yes. And she said, I actually thought, and she has quite a number of years of experience in that area. And she said, I believe you'll do fine. And I thought to myself, yes, I will, because I've put my mind to it. And I mean, okay, I do spend time, better, you know, improving myself, looking at what other people do. I also study. I study personalities. That was something I had never done before. I took that from you when you said when you were young you had to study personalities because you lived with family members. And then I thought to myself, children are very, very smart. They do that, but we do it without realizing. Children play one parent off against the other. They know what they can ask mum for, they'll get a no, and they know when to ask dad for it, and then they'll get it, or, you know, other family members. And I just thought to myself, I've got to be that child again and monitor or actually study the personalities.
I think what I really love about that, sorry to interrupt you, but what I really love about that is because we're born with inbuilt functionality, and as we get older we stop using it. Children are very resilient. You know, they fail, they get up and they do it again, and they fail and they get up and they do it again. That's how they learn. That's how we all learned how to walk, right? We didn't just fail and go, oh, I don't think this is for me. You know, it was, you keep trying. We're also born very curious. But this is something that somehow life sort of dampens us and stops us from being curious. And so I love that you have, you know, are making concerted effort to bring that inner functionality, which is already in you, out. You know, I think that's incredible.
Yeah. It's just taking another step, so that when I look back, I can say I tried it. I don't want to leave my boxes unticked to say, well, if only, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try new things, and I'm going to the next level.
Amazing. So tell us, what if you fail? What if you try something and it doesn't work?
I'll get my feedback, try my approach again. Maybe that's not the right place for me, but it's, I think failure would be a learning. I'm going to use failure as a learning curve.
And that's the most important thing. So what other questions do I have for you? So the last question, I guess, is, Bunmi, tell us, who are you now and how are you going to step into becoming more of that woman? We've talked really briefly about, who you were before, this person that was trying to figure out the world and feeling deflated by everything that had happened in the past. Who are you now?
Oh, that's well, it's not hard, but what now I'm not, my challenge, I need to overcome whatever I see as a challenge. Find another way around it, find a way over it, find a way under it. I'm not going to let what I would consider before as challenges be, that I need to overcome those challenges. And if I need to educate myself better, take a short course, have a mentor, I'm going to do whatever I need to do for myself to see how I can get to the next level.
Amazing. And you've seen that having that mentality works. So what would you say? I know I said the last one was my last question, but story of my life. So what would you say to somebody who's on the fence about investing in development, whether it's my course or somebody else's? What would you say to that person?
I would say you go for it. I mean, the investment I made last year, it was the best investment I had made. And you might laugh, I bought a new car last year, but the course that I took with you is more value to me than that car. The car gets me around, yes, I like my car, but this is something that has transformed my life. All areas, even my personal life, and people have noticed. My other half has noticed, and I'm thinking, because he would say, "Oh, why don't you do this?" And I would say, "Oh, no," and then he would say, "Before you'd sort of say no," and I'd think, "Fine, let's go." And it's like, "Oh, really?" So
now you're the one dragging him. You're like, "Come on."
Well, I think he. When you keep saying no, 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 the other, out of respect for that person, you sort of say, okay, that's all right. But now it's like, no, I'm going to try. If I can't do it, I can't do it. But I'm going to try. I haven't tried that before. I'd say, you know what? No, I don't want to do this. And that deflation it was having an effect, and I didn't realize it. So now I'm a more go-getter.
Amazing. So you're more of a go-getter. You're clearly much more self-aware, and you seem bouncier. You're you're much more open, I guess is the right word.
I am, and I'm a lot happier, and I'm going to continue investing in myself.
Yes.
I'm the most valuable person to me, and I deserve it. So I'm going to invest in myself, and I would say to anybody out there, go for it.
Amazing. But you're amazing. Yes, and that's something sometimes we forget, because you've got a partner, you've got children, you've got other family, and you've got so many different priorities. But sometimes the person we tend to leave behind is ourselves.
Yes.
I am beyond proud have achieved. You have taught me. A lot of the times people think that I'm the only one that's always learning, but I think for me, you taught me the power of past failures and how they can absorb us until the moment we decide. Because when we spoke, it was like, this is the whole world. All my world is how I failed. And suddenly you made a decision and it cracked open. And then you were so bold. You went and you got yourself a new job. You went and you started discovering who you are, building better relationships at work, at home, everywhere, and just being the kind of person that goes for what they want. And the whole point of this series is to, really show people that you can go from being ordinary to becoming your version of extraordinary.
Absolutely.
You go to the moment where this is the end of my life, and like you said, no stone left unturned.
Yeah. I mean, any stone that's left unturned is because that's the way I want it. But I am going to take my future into my hands. I'm the only person that can. Nobody else can do that for me. So I think that, and when you listen to, to people that, with great ambitions that, have great platforms, they had to overcome obstacles. So I think I have to do what I can do. And I believe in God. I believe God will then open those doors. But if I sit back, I don't think anything's coming to me. So, and it's been wonderful learning, meeting people, learning. And, if you just keep pushing, you've got that little, you don't know how much you've got in you. What's the resilience?
Yes.
Forget those failures. They're dead and buried. You can learn from them,
Yes, absolutely. And they serve their purpose, and we're grateful.
They serve their purpose, but I don't think we should stop anywhere. And I'm so happy that, in what was one of the most difficult years, had turned out into a positive, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm not sort of sidestepping the pandemic and everything that's gone on, because it has been very difficult for a lot of people. I've lost friends, loved ones, but I'm sure even they would look down and say, you know what, you can do it, go for it.
Amazing. Bunmi, thank you so much. But before we go, I just remembered one quick story, another nugget of why I just loved having you in the program. I remember we had a group session where I wasn't sharing anything. You guys were sharing amongst each other and providing solutions for each other's situations. And you came off that call and you said, Michelle, that was the best part of this whole course. And I remember thinking, but Bunmi, that had nothing to do with me. Because you'd just been sharing with everybody, and everybody had been giving you ideas.
Yes. And something, it was some of the things from the course that people said, you need to go to the next level, you need to sidestep. And I'm thinking, they don't even know me. And then when I thought about it, my friend said to me, so there's obviously something that they've seen or they're hearing. You've got to try. And I thought to myself, yeah, that, we're all, we all came to your course for different reasons.
Yes.
And I used to come off those courses, and sometimes we'd run over, the time would run over, but I didn't want to come off the Zoom. When I used to come off, I used to feel, oh my word, I wish that could have gone on for hours. But I just loved it. I'd feel so, I was, oozing with confidence. I was buzzing, and I thought, no, I've got to channel this positive energy into something. And that's what a lot of us said, because a lot of us met in the Zoom room on the Saturdays, and I met other people that were kind of like a year ahead of me, 2 years ahead of me. And we're still in touch, and some of them have gone on to open businesses. And I said to one, what prompted you to do this? And he said, because of the course. And this is the business is not for me. It's not something that I could benefit from, but that's a big money earner.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I got some good suggestions. I mean, I'm researching something for a business, and I thought, so it is money well spent. And I definitely intend to spend more money on myself this year.
Amazing.
So every year I'm going to spend some money on bettering myself.
I love that. And I think that's really important. And it's not just money, it's time. It's just having focus and having the space to think about, how can I improve myself, and how can I learn, and how can I be better? But me, as usual, you've been phenomenal, and you're such a bringer of joy. And I know you say that I have a lot of energy, but I think you match me on that front. So
maybe today, but not always, Michelle. You brought out the best in me.
My magic is only for a limited time period too. Bunmi, thank you so much, and that is it for today.
Isn't she just a riot? I promise you, I did not ask her to plug, my course or anything like that. She's just so on it, and it's created a transformation for her, and I'm truly grateful for the fact that she applied herself to the process and has come out at the other end. If you want to know more about about my course, as she's mentioned it, please do head on over to www.theinfluentialme.com, where you can sign up for the training, and then you'll understand everything there is to know about my course. I'm super, super thrilled that you chose to listen to this program, and I am grateful for your time and energy, and I hope that I get to see you for the last part of this amazing series with these incredible women next week. So be sure to tune in next week for the third part of the series on choosing to challenge. Until then.